One important step during the process of purchasing a home: inspections. You wouldn't buy a used car without checking everything about it, making sure that it's in pretty good condition, right? So same thing with a house. One major thing that we deal with in South Florida is termites. 8 out of 10 houses that, from experience, we have had inspections, they do have termites. So you want to make sure that either the company that you hire checks for termites, or you subcontract another company just to check on those. Plumbing, electrical, roof, termites. Those are the biggest ticket items in the property. Plumbing, making sure that it's not a discontinued plumbing. Electrical, the panels. And then you have termites can literally destroy the foundation of that roof or that house. And then another one is roofing. Roofing is probably the most costly in replacement or fixes in the entire house. Probably the thing that I recommend. Don't even look at the prices. Look at the experience of the inspector that you're hiring. Hiring the best inspector that money can buy. That decision alone, those couple $100 can literally save you thousands and thousands of dollars in the home purchase. I started creating these series of videos for you if you're looking to purchase a home or buying a home in 2026. I'm giving you pointers about the entire process. If you haven't checked my last video that I released last week about some pointers if you're purchasing or if you're selling in 2026, I recommend to click on that video. It's a short 10-minute videos with some pointers, things that I would consider if I were you in your position today. So today I want to talk about one important step during the process of purchasing a home. I would say the most, or one of the most important ones for sure, which is inspections. It's the process where you check on the house. I like to compare like buying a used car. You wouldn't buy a used car without checking everything about it and making sure that it's in pretty good condition, right? So same thing with a house. During the buying process, there's an inspection where you have a certain amount of time in the contract where legally you're entitled to bring an expert, check on the entire property, and make sure that you want to buy the house. And if there's anything that you find, you can negotiate, or you can just simply walk away with no penalties, no issues, right? So that's why it's important, the inspection period, which is that time, which usually range between 5-7 days, depending on your market. But where we are in South Florida, 5 to 7 days is more than enough to bring a license and insure inspector. That's very important. License and insure. You want to bring somebody that has experience too, as far as timing, because they will know better what to look for things. What are you looking in an inspection? First of all, I would say buy the full package. Make sure that you inspect everything. Think about it. The more you inspect, the better and more secure you are when purchasing. What are the prices of a home inspection? It ranges anywhere between $400 to $800. The difference in prices has to do a lot with the amount of things that you're going to check on the house, the size of the house. Let's say if the property has a pool, that makes a difference. It takes more time to check on those. The roof, electrical, plumbing, those are big ticket items. Those are the things that you don't want to walk away without checking, right? There's different inspection companies. Some of them specialize more into doing everything for you and giving you one set price. Some others, they only check certain things. And if you want extra things, you got to hire more and separate professionals. One major thing that we deal with in South Florida is termites. I would say 8 out of 10 houses that, from experience, we have had inspections, they do have termites. So you want to make sure that either the company that you hire checks for termites, or you subcontract another company just to check on those. There's a lot of companies that offers termite treatments and they give you that free inspection for you. You hire the inspector. Remember, license and insure. You pay anywhere between $400 to $800 depending on the size of the house, the amount of things that you want to check on. What does that inspection entail? What do they have? What they usually do is they go and physically inspect all of those, they take pictures, and then they fill out and put a full report ready for you, which usually they send either the same day or the very next day. You get to check on everything about the house, any suggestions that the inspector might give you, any repairs, and sometimes some estimates on those repairs as well. He actually, with that full report, equip you with enough information to know, one, if you want to buy the property or not, and two, what you're getting yourself into. If there's anything extra that you want to negotiate, if there's anything behind the walls that you weren't aware of, to your disposal to know, again, if you want to buy the house or if you want to walk away. Big ticket items, like I said, plumbing, electrical, roof, termites. Those are the biggest ticket items in the property. Plumbing, making sure that is not a discontinued plumbing like polybutyl lines. Those are discontinued because after a while, they get in very bad condition and create some leaks. Some houses built prior to 1970 or older, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. They do have those type of plumbing. So you want to make sure that if the property has those, more than likely insurance companies won't insure it, or make sure that you don't buy the property. That's one of the biggest issues too with those ticket items that I confirmed. If he has a bad plumbing, bad electrical, bad roofing, or a very heavy termite situation, depending on the type of loan that you have, more than likely you won't get insurance. And then if you don't get insurance, then mortgage companies won't lend you money for those. Look how much it can impact the entire process if you don't have a property in good shape. In the case of plumbing, like I said, making sure that you don't have a discontinued plumbing, that you don't have any type of leak. Some people, they like to do a zero inspection, which I recommend if you can. Don't get scared. What they usually do, if you haven't done one, is they take a camera and run it through the pipes. And then with that video, you can see with the inspector how good the plumbing look like. Now, one of the reasons why sometimes I like to clarify to buyers before even looking at that video is making sure that the plumbing is not going to be fully clean, fully white as it was when it was brand new. Remember, you're putting a camera down a pipe where he's been years and years of running water and dust and sand. So it's not gonna look good and pretty there. So as long as the inspector, after which they are experienced, they run the camera and they don't see anything wrong with the plumbing, any possible cracks, which is the main thing, then you don't have to worry about. Just make sure that you don't get overwhelmed and worry just because it's super dirty or dark down there. It's not gonna look good regardless if it's in good shape or not. That's sewer or plumbing. Then you have electrical. Where are you going to check on electrical? The type of cabling that it was used to build the house. There's some cloth wiring, which is another type of wiring that it was discontinued because it was proven through after a certain amount of time, it was causing fires. So if the property still has those type of wires, again, you're going to have the same issues with insurance companies insuring the house, and then you're going to have mortgage companies not letting you the money because it's not insurable. So it creates this domino effect that definitely affect the purchase price or the entire process. Electrical, the panel, there's a certain amount of panels too that they're discontinued as well, and you want to look into those, making sure that the property that you're purchasing doesn't have any of those. Good inspectors, they identify those pretty quick for you. You don't need to know all this information, but you can look it up online. And then you have termites. If you don't know what termite is, basically an element, it's very microscope level animal, I don't even know what to call it, that destroy woods. In South Florida, it's very common to have termites in a lot of the houses, but with time, if you drop some termites in woods, it doesn't take necessarily days, weeks, it could take months, even years, destroying that wood. And as you know, a lot of the frames of the house, especially the roof, are built out of woods. So if you have a house infected with termites and you let it sit there for a while, it can literally destroy the foundation of that roof or that house. That's why it's pretty, when you look at it from a micro perspective, it's pretty simple, pretty basic, pretty small, but it creates with years a very, very dangerous situation. So it's an easy solution. You either treat the property or you tent the property, and that's how you get rid of them. So again, it's very, very common. Don't get scared if the house that you're purchasing do have it. Just make sure that the inspector check on the damage already created by the termites. And as long as it's not major, all you have to do is negotiate maybe a credit for you to fix that and do a termite treatment or a termite tenting of the house. That's another one. So I said plumbing, electrical, termites, and then another one is roofing. Roofing is probably the most costly in majority of the cases, replacement or fixes in the entire house. If you have a good plumbing, if you have a good electrical, if you have a good foundation of the property, let's say a fairly remodeled house, the only thing that more than likely you will have to replace during your ownership might be the roof. That's why it's important to check on the age. That's the first thing, the age. It's proven statistically that majority of US families move every 7 years. Every 7 years, most people change housing. They sell and buy another house. If you buy a house with a new roof, depending on the type of roof and the material, the life expectancy of that roof is anywhere between 15 to 30 years or maybe 35. Nowadays, there's a very common material being used, which is metal roof, and those can go up to 45, 50 years. So you have roof, depending again on the material, and obviously the prices will vary too. The life expectancy of a roof can go anywhere between 15 to 50 years, 15 years to 50 years. So that's why it's important to know the age of the roof by the time that you move in. If you kind of know how long you plan to keep that property, you know around what time you will more than likely need to replace that roof. And it's not an auction for you because the same effect happened with the other ones. The same domino effect where if you don't have a roof in good shape or at the very end of the life expectancy, the insurance companies won't insure it and then the mortgage company won't lend you the money to buy that house. That's very, very important, unless you're buying cash. If you're buying cash, you can do whatever you want and have the property to whatever condition you like, right? Roof, pretty important because roof prices can go in the average single family house size in South Florida. They can go anywhere between $15,000 to $70,000, depending on the material. It's again, one of the most expensive things that you more than likely will have to fix or replace during your ownership. Those are the things that I recommend to look into it. Again, the most important one is the inspector that you hire. Don't go cheap. Not necessarily going cheap will guarantee that you get the best results or the best experience or the best inspector. That's one thing that I recommend. Probably the thing that I recommend. Make sure that don't even look at the prices. Look at the experience of the inspector that you're hiring. Hiring the best inspector that money can buy. Just imagine it like this. Let's say that you pay on the higher end $700, $800 for an inspections versus $400, $500, which is on the cheaper side. But the $700, $800 inspector is guaranteeing one of the best inspector, most experienced inspector in the area. That decision alone, those couple of $100 can literally save you thousands and thousands of dollars in the home purchase. So that's what you're trying to avoid. Any property that you buy, which is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So those couple of $100 that you might be saving can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars later on because the inspector maybe didn't caught something that was very important, and then 6 months into you moving in, that's when disaster happens. So those are the things that I want you to take a look whenever you're purchasing a house when it comes to inspectors. If you have any other questions or you need a good inspector that can help you in the process, just reach out to me through any of my channels. Have a wonderful rest of your day. If you like this content, don't forget to subscribe.